Welcome to another edition of What Barrie's Talking About from Barrie 360. I'm Dan Blakeley. On this week's program, back to school coming quickly, parents getting their kids' supplies together, some wondering how they're going to pull all that together, a woman in Collingwood lending a hand in that regard, hoping you might be able to help as well. The deadline has passed for public comment on a provincial plan to sell a portion of Wasaga Beach Provincial Park to the town, the plan raising the hackles of environmentalists. We'll find out why and learn more about a much bigger issue involving public assets. And we meet up with a local artist at last weekend's Boots and Hearts Music Festival at Burroughs Creek. We get the conversation started after this. This is What Barrie's Talking About from Barrie 360. I'm Dan Blakeley, joined by Ashley Plewis up in the Collingwood area, who's very, very busy at the moment, getting ready for back to school. Not for her or her family, but for just about everybody else's family. Am I right?
That's right. Yes, we have about 75 kids we're supplying bags for.
This is a backpack drive you've been involved in for the last 3 years, but you're handling it all by yourself this year. So you're looking for some extra help just in the form of letting people know what's going on, how they can help, and where they can help out.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so fill us in. How did this begin, and how great is the need there?
Yeah, so it began originally. There's another lady who used to run the drive. Her name was Jasmine. Unfortunately, she's passed away. And I used to help her out with this tremendously with donations, backpack drives. And when she fell ill, I just took over. It's a huge need. Like, I'm a mom of 3 kids, and I know how expensive it is. And the older they get, the cheaper it doesn't get.
Right.
And that, all the supplies that we collected, it doesn't even include running shoes or other different supplies. It's just the basics. So bags can be upwards of $80 to $100 if you're going to completely stack them with everything.
You mentioned it's not shoes, it's not clothing, but it's supplies that need to be bought for kids going back to school, and it's one thing that these families don't need to worry about.
100%, yes.
Okay, so what is it that you're looking for? What do you need? Do you need people to supply the backpacks? Do you need people just to supply the pens and pencils and everything else that go into them?
All the above. I kind of leave it up to the individual. I mean, everybody's circumstances are different. You can help out by volunteering your time. It doesn't have to be a donation or monetary donation. Now, we do accept those. You can go out to the stores and buy. Our biggest need right now would be just your basics, so like markers, pencil, crayons. The other really big thing we're in need of is obviously backpacks, lunch bags, and zippered binders for the older kids.
Yeah, and you're working on some backpack drives, I understand?
I do. I have 2 more coming up. We just did our first round this past weekend at Collingwood Walmart and Wasaga Beach Walmart. But the next 2 I have coming up are both on Saturdays, so for the next 2 weeks at the Collingwood Walmart.
Is that all day at the Collingwood Walmart?
I'll be there from 10 till 2. From
10 till 2. So if people want to drop things off, they can do that to you there. Do you need help packing the backpacks? Are you looking for some manpower as well?
So for now, I've actually done pretty good with my manpower. I'm really fortunate that the Collingwood Optimist Club has also supplied me with a donation as well as their time packing up. And then I have a couple friends who volunteered their time. So I'm okay, actually, for the moment for the volunteers.
Let me ask you this. Those 3 kids of yours, do they help you out?
They do. Actually, my daughter just came to my first drive on Saturday, and she helped me out. My kids are pretty involved. I like to think that we all have good hearts. I want my kids to grow up and, know what it's like helping others.
Yeah. So you mentioned 75 people in need. Are you taking more, or do you have a full list now, and now you're just collecting for those people?
Yeah, so our list, unfortunately, has closed. I've maxed out at 75. I do have a wait list, but I'm not guaranteeing or promising anybody. But I have been redirecting them to other resources in the community of other people that I know that are doing backpacks as well. So hopefully, if they don't get on those lists, I obviously will do my absolute best to help them out. But at the moment, we're maxed.
All right. So how do people get in touch with you if they want to get on the waiting list or they want to know where else they can turn?
My email address is Plewis, Plewes, @hotmail.com. Or I am on social media, just one Facebook, pardon me, and it's Collingwood Backpack Drive.
And do you have a deadline that you're trying to meet with this? How, is it the middle of August, or are you going right up to the start of school?
So the last week of August, I'm hoping to have all the bags packed, and I will know where I'm sitting. And then the 30th of August is my handout date to the families, right on the long weekend. I'm accepting things right up until that date.
Okay.
As we go, I will know where we're short or what we're falling short on. So people just want to keep in touch with me that way, they can.
Ashley, thanks so much for doing this. Good on you for helping out the community, recognizing a need, and it's a huge need, as you mentioned, for a number of families.
It's a very big need. And something else I should probably mention to you, I don't just do Collingwood only. I also help out families in Wasaga Beach. I have a few in Clearview, as well as the town of Blue Mountain. So it's just the general area.
Ashley, thanks so much for taking the time. Good luck with the drive. If there's anything else we can do to help you out, reach out, please.
Thank you. I appreciate your time today.
Queen's Park looking to sell a portion of Wasaga Beach Provincial Park to the town proper, part of a much bigger issue related to turning public assets over to private interests. Tim Gray is Executive Director of Environmental Defense, which has raised concerns about long-standing environmental protection, the plight of wildlife, and opening the door to future privatization of public lands. He's with Barrie 360's Ian McLennan.
What are the red flags here? What's the messaging to the public? What are your concerns?
Yeah, it's twofold. One is what's going to happen to all these incredibly ecologically sensitive lands within our most visited provincial park. These have rare vegetation communities. There's the dune complexes. There's the critically endangered piping plover. And, of course, the dunes also help protect the town from big storms in the fall. Any provincial park really should be left for the benefit of people of Ontario. All of these parks are meant to be protected forever and their values protected forever. So that's the first part. And the other is that the province is also proposing to amend the Provincial Parks and Conservation Reserves Act itself. We don't know what that is going to look like or what they're proposing to do, but that's also a huge concern what that could mean for the rest of the parks in the system.
So looking at, let's go to part one, about 3% of the parkland going back to Wasaga Beach, 60 hectares. Sounds like a small amount, but it's what's in there that is the concern?
Absolutely. These are the beachfront lands, and the endangered species that I mentioned, piping plover, has just started to recover in Ontario. It was extirpated, and now it's being reintroduced. It's a native species that we wiped out because of past bad activities on a lot of our beaches, and it's really important that the plovers survive. The Endangered Species Act, of course, has been repealed, so any lands that are outside of a provincial park are much less likely to have that species protected because those rules have all been stripped away by the current government. So removing the land from the park and from the care and management of the park staff would put these values at risk.
Now, the mayor of Wasaga Beach issued a statement, I believe it was in June, indicating the town, Wasaga Beach, the land will not go to developers, and he says half of the proposed land includes beach and environmentally sensitive dunes. You talked about that, areas that will be preserved. So are you accepting that, or...
I think that having the Destination Wasaga project go ahead is, up to the town of Wasaga. If they think that more development in the downtown makes sense and it meets the zoning requirements, that's all fine. But my question to the mayor, and we've been trying to get a hold of the planning department there, but have had no luck, would be if you don't plan on doing anything to damage the ecological values of these parklands, then why do you support removing them from the park? Because clearly the provincial park staff are very qualified to know how to look after these ecological values. It is their core job. It's protected by legislation. So if the mayor is really serious about protecting these beachfront lands, then he would, I would imagine, want to support having them continue to be managed by people that are best suited to do that.
So you're talking to the experts who are doing what they do currently. He's indicated they're talking to conservation organizations. I think he mentions Birds Canada as an example. So would you work with the mayor? I mean, you've had no contact yet?
We've reached out to the planning staff and had not had our calls returned. I would, welcome the mayor willing to make legal commitments to protect those values. I also would really want to ask him why he wants to see the lands removed from the park and from an agency that has the resources, the staff, and the budget to look after these lands.
Was this the province offering this to Wasaga Beach, or did the town make the request? What you're aware of?
I'm not sure, where the conversation started. The proposal right now is from the province to sell the lands to Wasaga Beach. Whether or not the town asked for them or the province offered them at the request of someone in the development industry, we're not sure.
Yeah, now the Premier did announce back in the spring and May that the government was giving $38 million to the Wasaga to help revitalize the town's tourism scene, and now part of that proposed plan did include selling the town beach area 1, 2, and so forth. So it would appear it was the province that offered this to Wasaga Beach, whether a request came from the town or not. Let's go to part 2, because you talk about possible changes to the Provincial Parks and Conservation Reserves Act. What is that, and what's the concern?
Yeah, the Provincial Parks and Conservation Reserves Act is the legislation that protects all of the provincial parks and conservation reserves in Ontario. It has managing those parks for the long-term value for the people of Ontario and to maintain their ecological integrity as being a requirement. It also lays out protocols for removing lands from a park and requires a report be done to the legislature and a vote of all the members of provincial parliament occur in the legislature. So the announcement that the Act is going to be amended without providing any details of what that amendment would look like is cause for concern, especially when it's coupled with a plan to actually sell off parts of one of our most visited parks. So we don't know what those exact wording is because the province has not released it, but it's being done in conjunction with the removal of lands from Wasaga. So our concern is that it will be about enabling the sell-off of provincial park lands and having that done more easily across the province.
Then having to go through the legislature and a vote by elected MPPs?
Exactly.
And are you the concern then that this Wasaga Beach, what's taking place there, is not a one-off?
Absolutely. It in itself is cause for great concern, but of course it would be much worse if there's a plan to make it easier to sell off land, throughout the system. This is part of an overall pattern from this government of taking public assets and wanting to turn them over to private development interests. We saw that with Ontario Place. We saw it with the attack on the Greenbelt, et cetera. So it would not be kind of out of character for the behavior of this government around public assets and things that belong to the public. Now,
the ministry has stated that protected species and their habitats, we're talking Wasaga Beach, will remain protected regardless of who owns the land. That's not a guarantee, but is that, do you buy the government's words?
No, and I think the evidence shows that they do not care about endangered species, both the comments the Premier has made in the media, but also they recently, in Bill 5, repealed the Endangered Species Act, which did provide protection for endangered species across the province, and that's been repealed. So I'm not exactly sure what the mechanism would be to protect species when the legislative ability of government to do so has been removed.
So what's the next steps from an organization like yours?
For us, it's ensuring that the public knows about this proposal and that they realize that it will have to be voted on in the legislature. The legislature returns in late October. Every MPP will have to vote on this issue, and we're really hoping that the public reaches out to their MPPs and asks them to vote against this. And perhaps if enough do, that we can have a similar outcome that we did when we all rallied together to make sure that the Greenbelt wasn't going to be developed.
So the MPPs will get a chance to vote on this proposal, but again, you say the long-term or even short-term concern is if there is tinkering to the PPCR, the Parks and Conservation Reserves Act, that maybe down the road they won't get that opportunity.
That's right. If the legislation is changed to make it so that parkland can be sold off without a report being made to the legislature or MPPs voting, then in the future the decisions could be as simple as having a cabinet meeting and deciding to sell the lands, and that would be a huge disaster when you think of places like Killarney and Algonquin and others that many developers would love to get their hands on to be able to sell high-value real estate in areas that we all see, rightly so, as our own and belonging to the people of Ontario.
Do you think that, I was thinking the town, would it be a gross mistake on their part to tinker when so many people, even those that don't live there, a lot of people consider Wasaga Beach their almost second home for people that visit in the summertime or ski in the winter and stay in places?
Absolutely. I mean, I think having publicly accessible beaches, having beaches that are managed for their ecological values in protected areas is a long-term legacy for the people of Ontario. Having development near or adjacent to those places and having services, restaurants, condos in the town, that makes good sense. But anything that is going to tinker with or damage the ecological values that people are attracted to is going to have a long-term negative impact, not just on the wildlife that lives there, but of course the people of Ontario that benefit from having those values protected.
It's that hometown crowd.
Another Boots and Hearts music festival in the books. Barrie 360's Julius Hearn corralling homegrown artist Sully Burrows from Parry Sound for a catch-up.
You only finished high school, 1-2 years ago? Really recently, right? How does it feel to have the success you're having so young at an age in country music?
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy, getting the chance to do it. It's been hard to kind of wrap my head around it a little bit and play catch-up. It's been very go, but it's been a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed it so far.
So far in your career, what's the one moment you point to as maybe the biggest break you've had so far?
That's tough. There's been so many this year. To name a few, Rally Around being a part on the charts, and even, seeing my name on the Boots and Hearts lineup thing, I think that was a big one for me. Yeah,
being from Parry Sound, I mean, you've seen the Muskoka, the biggest festival you could argue maybe in Canada.
Yeah.
When you saw that you were going to be performing this year, what was going through your mind?
I was, I'm nervous. It's a bit nerve-wracking kind of thing. Obviously, growing up an hour away, it's the big thing. Boots and Hearts is the big thing that everybody saves up for and wants to go to. So getting the chance to play it, seeing my name just meant a lot.
What kind of Boots and Hearts experience did you have prior to this year?
I've been here the past couple years, but that was just for a day. So I came in 2 years ago to see Tim McGraw and Riley Green, and then last year to see Jason Aldean. So I've only been here on the Sundays, and they've been pretty good. So.
And then they're playing the Sundays. So
yeah, exactly.
Fantastic,
it's awesome.
Right? Who were some of your biggest influences kind of growing up country music?
Yeah, growing up, there's so many different ones. Riley Green is probably the biggest one, and then, I've listened to a lot of different, eras, you could say, of music. So, Alan Jackson and George Strait and those guys, but also, I've really gotten into Alabama as well. So they're just, great artists, great groups, and kind of great people to look up to.
I just saw Alabama last week.
That's amazing.
It was great to see them, still out on tour, which is fantastic.
Yeah, they're so amazing.
Do you have any other influences outside the genre that you're kind of bringing to your music?
Yeah, just looking at it, I guess you could kind of classify it as country music, but not really, Noah Kahan. That's tough. That's a good question. Growing up, I kind of really only listened to country music, so I don't really have many other influences outside of country.
Who introduced you to country music when you were young?
Probably my grandpa. I'd say he was he would have country music playing all the time, and then we kind of picked that up. It was always on in the house and stuff. So, it was kind of just around when I was growing up.
for you performing today, I know you have a relationship with Owen Riegling. Kind of take me through that relationship that you have with him and how that's kind of helped your career.
The funniest story of how we met, like my family has a construction company in Parry Sound, and Owen's dad has been the insurance agent for them like for 15 years. So we got connected through our parents, and it kind of speaks volume to who Owen is and his character. For him to take time to write with a 16-year-old that nobody really knew about, and having him in my corner has been really great. He's here, he's giving me advice and just helped me out in just like kind of navigating what I should do next, and having him as a peer and as a buddy has been really great.
I know you signed a record deal lately or recently. What are your plans for your first record going to be?
Yeah, so we've got like a project coming in the fall. I don't really know exactly when, but there is something coming, and we're kind of just going to take the songs that are out and then add some new ones in there too, and kind of release a bit of an EP. Anything
specific you're kind of going for in the new tracks?
Man, there's so many different styles of the stuff, like from the stuff that we have out now, and then kind of new elements that have come into it with the newer songs. There's a lot of like reflective songs and just fun ones as well. So, kind of staying on theme with, my first single, Youth, but also just developing there and just fun songs and reflective songs as well.
When you listen to those singles, maybe in kind of chronological order, what do you think is the biggest thing for you that has kind of developed your musical style over the course of those years?
When I try to write, I'm kind of writing from personal experiences, and I've always said if you're singing a song that you don't mean, people can tell. So obviously having like personal experiences and being able to relate to other people and having other people relate to your songs is one of the coolest feelings in the world. So that kind of developed, like my writing kind of developed just as I grew up. I mean, I still have a lot more growing up to do, but it's definitely developed in the past like 6 months as well, from what's happened and what was going on before, and then kind of over the 6 months, and not only have I developed as a writer and gotten a lot better, but just, again, more personal experiences.
So aside from your project that's coming up, what are some other career plans you have, kind of coming up next 6 months here?
Yeah, so we've got some shows. We're basically booked from now until mid-September, which is awesome, and, writing a bit more. Definitely going back and forth from Nashville, too, just getting some writes with some good friends, and spending time down there is always important. So I think that's kind of where I'm at right now.
And last one here, you're performing today, as we mentioned. You're nervous. What are your biggest expectations ahead of stepping on stage?
I mean, kind of just to have fun. I mean, I hope that the crowd likes my music and shows up and is excited. I know there's a couple of friends and family and who are really excited and are coming today, so I'm really excited to see them and get them to see me on not only the Boots and Hearts stage, but also kind of hear my set.
Well, thank you so much, Sully. Really appreciate the time. I'm looking forward to seeing your set.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And that's our program for this week. Thanks to Ian and Julius for their input, to Logan Miller for his technical expertise, and to you for listening. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe to What Barrie's Talking About, rate it, review it. You can also keep up with What Barrie's Talking About on Blue Sky and X at Barrie360, on our website, Barrie360.com, and there's our daily Kickstart podcast available from any streaming service and on our website. I'm Dan Blakeley. Hope you'll join us again next week.